What's up, guys? Today on All Sports Central, we're going to be going over one of the best Pac-12 teams last season, and that was Washington State. Now, how are they going to do in 2019? This team is facing quite a bit of losses. That's what we're going to be going over here today. Washington State's final preview. They were 11-2 in the 2018 season, and they made it to the Pac-12 championship, but they ended up losing it. That's what kind of affected their chances of making the Rose Bowl. They do lose their quarterback, Gardner Minshew. He had excellent stats. We're going to be going over him in a little bit, but they do return their key offensive players in Williams, Patman, and Martin, so that's huge. So that means basically, if you look at that, if the quarterback situation turns out fine, if they can get a quarterback that can somewhat match what Minshew did, this offense will definitely be dangerous going into this 2019 season. The defense may decline a bit due to losses. They were ranked 27th overall in 2018. That is excellent. Even though that's a Pac-12 team ranking, I definitely think the Washington State, they do have a lot of talent going back into this season, but it just depends on how Minshew is going to be replaced and if he's going to be able to replace Will or not. Pac-12 championship chances, I think it's going to come down to somewhat how it did last year. If you can beat Washington in that final game of the season, you'll probably make the Pac-12 championship, because I expect both of those teams to be somewhat even in there, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. How similar will 2019 be to 2018? I think they're going to decline a little bit. I don't expect them to get to 11 wins again. It'll be a few years until they can do that, maybe a couple, but I do expect them to probably get at least 8 wins, so that's good at least. You shouldn't have any problem making a bowl game, but I do think it'll decline a little bit with the defensive losses, and then you got Minshew also being gone. That's another thing. Once again, when you lose a quarterback, usually the next year, unless you have a great quarterback to replace him, there are going to be some changes in the offense, and it's going to be hard to adjust to those in the first year. So Minshew had some insanely good stats last season. I had to triple check some sources on this. 4,700 passing yards. That is ridiculous. 38 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's the best touchdown interception ratio I think I've ever seen. Well, at least for this offseason. Keeping those interceptions down below 10 and having that many touchdowns is insane in my opinion. They got 4,700 passing yards. I don't know how he was able to pull that off, but that is insane. James Williams, 2018 stats. He had 1,100 total yards, 16 touchdowns. So that's excellent as well. But yeah, looking at their schedule now coming into the next season, you got some tough games in here for sure. You got those. But starting off with the season, you got New Mexico State, Northern Colorado. Those will be 2 easy wins. They shouldn't really have any problem with those games, I don't think, especially with it being at home. You got Houston then the next week. Watch out for that game. That could be a tricky one against Houston. Since it's at home, once again, that'll be a win, same as UCLA. You then got Utah on the road. That's going to be their first loss of the season. They're going to be 4-1 throughout September. Utah is going to be a better team next season, and with it being on the road games are tougher to play in for sure. But Arizona State the next week, they kind of pick it up there. And they keep going with Colorado, get a win there. And so looking into that October 26th game against Oregon, probably your best game, or actually your first or second most important game of the season. You're coming into that game with a decent 6-1 record. I think they dropped that one. Oregon's going to be probably ranked. Oregon's probably going to be undefeated coming into that game. And so it's obviously probably going to be one of the biggest games of the week. I think they dropped that one just because it's on the road. And Oregon's going to be a talented team next season. California then on November 9th. That'll be a win. Then you got Stanford. I think they're going to drop that one at home. Stanford, I'm not really expecting much from, but I think in that game, in that situation where Washington State's starting to decline a little bit, I think they lose that Stanford game. But then you got Oregon State the next week. Easy win there. Then you got Washington to end off the season. I think they lose that one. Washington probably has a good shot to go back to the Pac-12 championship. Not so sure yet, but they've got a decent shot at it at least. So once again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Washington State in the comments below. I'm expecting them to go 8-4 for this next season. It'll be interesting though. I do believe, it's definitely possible. I could be wrong. They could go 9-10 wins if their quarterback situation's all right. Or even if, who knows? It'll be interesting, but it's still pretty early on. So let me know your guys' thoughts. All right, so that is it on Washington State's football prediction for the 2019 season. Be sure to let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below on this team. Am I wrong? Are they going to do better? Be sure to let me know. More football predictions coming soon. We're going to do more college football ones over the next few weeks, so be sure to stay tuned for more from All Sports Central.